君が着るの？
はい、そうです。
即答した。なんてまっすぐで済んだ目を。いけない。もうそういう時代ではないというのに。性別も年齢も関係ない。人は皆自分の着たい服を自由に着るべきだ。彼がバニースーツを着ても何も間違ってない。
I'm literally gonna wait for you.
What does it take to be yourself? And when you finally are able to be yourself, does it actually feel the way you thought it was gonna feel? These are questions that a lot of people would ask themselves on a day-to-day basis or just within their lives. But what if I told you that an anime that has to do with cosplay out of all things is something that would help you answer some of those questions I just asked you? Because this anime about cosplay called My Dress Up Darling might not only help you understand the world of cosplay, it might help you understand how to empower yourself. In terms of the premise of this anime, it's relatively simple. It's a sort of romance anime in which a girl called Marin and a guy called Gojo
領域展開無料空所
No, not that Gojo, kind of like each other a lot. But their relationship is not only solely based on them liking each other, they have a relationship based on cosplay, because Marin likes to dress up and Gojo likes to create outfits. Basically, it's a relationship made in heaven, as you see them work together to create some of the most beautiful cosplays ever, and also dive into the world of cosplay itself. And that's basically the simple premise of what this anime is about. But I'm sure at this point you accept the fact that, okay, cool, it talks about cosplay, but when does it get to the part that empowers you and teaches you something? Well, we're gonna get there, but first we have to talk about the idea of cosplay. Now, cosplay is something that is very unique to anime. It's not solely for anime, but it's very unique, because oftentimes when you go to anime conventions or festivals, you will see cosplay, and as such, it's the light and dark of anime, because it's the shining aspect where we see a bunch of people dress up and dress as characters that they like, they seem confident. It's a beautiful place because it generally is a gathering of people who want to be free, and oftentimes you see people gather together who have same interests based on the fact that they have similar cosplays. So it's an aspect in a community within anime that is very strong, and really, to keep it a buck with you, it's one of the foundations of anime in itself. People love buying merchandise and looking like certain characters, and as such, cosplay is generally seen as a very superficial thing. But it's also one of the most misunderstood parts of anime, because within the light aspect that is beautiful and appreciated within cosplay, there's the dark aspect, because within the world of cosplay, there's a lot of standards that are applied within the community by community members, but also from people who are from the outside looking in, because most of the time, to keep it a buck with you, people who are appreciated for cosplay, quote unquote, are often individuals who are attractive. But the part that doesn't get talked about as much is the darker aspect, because within the world of cosplay, there's a lot of standards of beauty that have to be kept up. From a simple aspect, you'll be judged if you don't have the figure borderline of that character you're trying to dress up as, and as such, there's a lot of body shaming, fat shaming, and a lot of other shaming you could think of, because people want you to match that exact individual you're trying to replicate, which is a problem. But also sometimes it gets extremely racial, because some people don't like different ethnicities dressing up as certain characters. It gets like that. But the part that is the most common, and it's been applied from people who like anime and don't, is the judgmental aspect. We've all seen it, and I'm going to keep it a buck. I've been involved with it. I've been a kid. It's understandable. You don't always understand everything. But that's the aspect of judging people who dress up. When you're younger, it's pretty often clear, like when you're in groups, to laugh and ask yourself, why is this grown person dressed up as a character? It seems weird. But also, the part that gets really focused on a lot is the part in which men try to dress up. That is an aspect that is really deep, and to keep it a buck with you, I'm not the best to really dive into. There's someone better who tell you what it really feels like and what happens. But from a surface level, there's a lot of judgments from people dressing up as characters. Whether you dress up as a female character or a male character, the judgment is still the same. And as such, the world of cosplay can be a very cold place, despite what it represents. And this is something that you kind of learn from this anime, because within this anime, something that really is profound about this season so far is the idea of acceptance within the world of cosplay. Because what happens within this anime is that we meet a character who is a guy who dresses up as a female character. Now, most of the time, that wouldn't really be a big deal, especially because in the world of cosplay, it happens that much. But for that individual, it was a big problem, because at the beginning, you could notice that they were awkward whenever it kind of was questioned as to why they do certain things. And as the episodes fly, you start to learn that he's becoming more comfortable with Gojo and Marin asking him questions and trying to figure out the things that he knows, because he's pretty good in terms of cosplay and understanding what's required. And eventually they get an opportunity to speak more about why he does what he does. And it's not what you think it is, because most of the time you kind of would have expected if he's a guy and he wanted to dress up like a girl, there's probably a sad story where his parents would hit him or etc. No, his family was extremely open-minded and accepting to what he wanted to do in terms of dressing up. In fact, you would think, based on certain stereotypes that are always applied to guys dressing up as characters who are not guys, you would think he likes guys or he doesn't like women. No, he likes women. He just likes dressing up, and that's simply it. And to kind of see that scene take you through his journey to being the person that he is in front of you, who yes is not that confident but is relatively a better person, is deeply profound, because he talks about how dressing up empowers him, how it gives him confidence, how he generally is a timid individual, but when he's allowed to dress up, there's a level of confidence that he's gained throughout the years. Yes, he's not the picture of confidence, but he's in a better place than what he was before. And after really thinking about what he said, it was deeply profound, because you don't really understand that thing from the outside. Because from one side you ask yourself, why would you want to be someone else? Usually when people dress up or want to be someone else, you sometimes think that they want to be someone else. They're not happy with who they are. Generally, it's a lack of confidence within themselves. But when he explains to you what he's doing, it makes sense as to how it gives him confidence. And when you think about it from a simple aspect, this is a very common thing. Oftentimes, how many times do people put on costumes or just outfits to go somewhere and feel different, feel confident, feel stronger, feel more empowered? It's pretty simple, but for these individuals, it's cosplay, it's that freedom. And to see Marin and Gojo get emotional, and even within them, they have their own stories where they've been made to feel weird because of what they like, specifically cosplay or interests, but have overcome it in some aspect, not totally, but have learned to become stronger people and more understanding people because of their experience with cosplay, leaves you feeling so much more stronger. And with that episode, it just hit me as to why this anime is so special. It's not the fact that it's this anime that focuses on cosplay. Yes, it is a beautiful anime to explore the world of cosplay and show you just what happens within that world, teaching you little terms and big terms and showing you the little intricacies of what goes into actually being a cosplayer. Because for example, it's not that easy. They work borderline months, weeks just for one day to look like that character. It's an extremely big deal, and this anime allows you to appreciate what it means to be a cosplayer. But it also allows you to appreciate the more fundamental, the more intrinsic aspect of what it is sometimes to be a cosplayer. And that's finding a sense of community, that's finding a sense of freedom, but also that's finding a sense of empowerment in being happy and enjoying something that you like out in the open. But the more powerful aspect of this anime is that it really emphasizes the importance of empowering others, because Marin and Gojo give this individual the freedom and the ability to express themselves, and even if it's a little bit, they've helped that person grow. But not only has that person learned to grow and empower themselves, that person has helped Marin and Gojo themselves grow as well. And the thing that I like about this anime is that they're not fixated on you basically having this epiphany moment and everything changing, but it's the fact that it allows you to appreciate growing little by little. Sometimes you'll grow in a big aspect. Yeah, that sounds a little crazy, but still, you get what I'm saying. You'll grow in a big aspect, but also sometimes you'll grow in a little aspect, but it doesn't mean that it's not just as profound. And within this anime, you're watching this beautiful, colorful, vibrant story being told, in which you think you're just learning about cosplay, but you're also learning about people. And as such, this is an anime to me that has so much beauty, but also the fact that it really allows you to experience a human feeling. And I really appreciate this anime for that, because it is going to show you the dark side, it is going to show you the light side, but ultimately it's going to give you an opportunity to learn from both aspects. It's not here to just glorify one and hide the other aspect. And some episodes don't always have to follow this streamlined idea that they have to teach you something. Sometimes you're just gonna learn a little something about these characters. That is also a real representation of how life can be at times. You're not gonna learn something deep and profound every single day. And that's the beauty of this anime. And to me, for it to be able to juggle those two worlds, the seriousness of the topics that are being discussed, but also just take you through a fun journey of these two characters who possibly could end up being together, but like cosplay and like dressing up and creating something and putting the passion into creating it. Because even with Gojo, he's amazing just as a character. He seems very just bland or just quiet, but just his passion and desire to create something could be something that's extremely profound and powerful for someone who wants to create clothing. You see the simplicity within his approach, but also you see the very deep desire that he has to perfect his art. And this is something that I have no understanding of, but I can feel it when I watch him work. He cares. He wants to be borderline a perfectionist with his work. We understand generally in fashion that should be the approach, but we have a more superficial approach to it. He shows you a more simplified but real aspect.
I can see what they're doing, what he's doing. I can see it, I feel it. He's cooking.
And that's amazing to me. Now, in terms of the negatives of this anime, if you don't like the ideas that I've tossed to you, like acceptance, empowerment, and dressing up, then I don't think you're really gonna like this anime. It really applies to certain people who want to be open to those things and want to learn about those things. And that's the only negative that I have to say about this anime. In terms of the animation is so unique. Cloverworks really gives you a very powerful feeling about the anime that's unique. There's nothing that seems like My Dress Up Darling Season 2. The OSTs are really good. The opening, the ending is also fun. They're different. But overall with this anime, I think that it has so much potential that it could end up just fulfilling, because the animation is really good, the music is really good, the stories are profound, they're good. And one thing I really want to emphasize is that it's not going to beat you over the head with these concepts. It's just generally a good anime and a fun anime to watch, besides the fact that it can just teach you so much. I think that this could really be a really strong contender for anime of the season. There's a lot of heavy hitters this season, so it's gonna be a big task considering what's out there right now, but I really have a hard time finding flaws within this anime. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this anime. I hope that I did a really good job of explaining a little bit of the premise to you, and then the anime can just handle the rest by itself when you watch it.